now in our exploration of Genesis, we've been blessed to revisit ancient epochs, adventures and misadventures, and ponder the tumult and turmoil of human reality, as well as God's redemption and rescue of those living on planet Earth. And with Abraham and Sarah, we've set eyes on the promised land. We've passed through it, circled back from the lands of Egypt, descended into the plains of Sodom and Gomorrah, and made our way up to Gerar. And today we come back to Hebron and enter the cave at Bethel. But just to reassure you, being in the cave, of course, accepted, the terrain isn't all that foreign to us. Hebron, if you might recall, is in Canaan. Yes. It's the same place where Abraham dwelt, near the oaks of Mamre, and built an altar to the Lord. That was back in Genesis 13. And of course, you remember that episode at the oaks of Mamre in Genesis 18 when the three angelic visitors arrived before Abraham and Sarah. Now, there are still a number of firsts in today. This is the first funeral in the Bible. And Sarah's actually the first one whose age, we're told, is at her death. And this is Abraham's first purchase of land in the Bible, which turns out to be the first permanent Israelite settlement. But I think what sets this passage apart is its mood, its maturity and solemnity. There isn't actually a dramatic battle to secure burial grounds, the cave of Machpelah, but there's formal negotiations solemnized at the city gates. And in case you missed it, Abraham, why is he searching for a burial place again? Who's it for? Sarah, that's right. His beloved wife, who's he dealing with? Who's he negotiating with? Which group of people? The Hittites? Yeah, that's right. And literally it says the sons of Heth, but it's translated as the Hittites. That's right. And Abraham bows before them, and he offers to buy the cave. The owner, Ephron is his name. Great name if you're one day thinking of names. But do you remember his response? What does he say? When go ahead, Judah.
He offers to let him buy the field and the cave.
Close, yeah. But it eventually comes to that. But he gets up publicly and says, here in the presence of my people, I'll give it to you. Go and bury your dead. This is yours. And now, how about us? Well, I'm sorry. There we go. Yes. Now, us today, we might think, Ephron, that is so generous of you. Why, thank you. Oh, you're just going to give me the cave? Well, Ephron doesn't actually mean it like that. It's just a formality. It's kind of like saying, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing good. Well, if you're bargaining with someone, that's an opening formality. Someone would say, oh, you like this? It's yours. Take it. It's yours. But of course, the prospective buyer, the response is supposed to be, oh, no, I couldn't. I'll pay you for it. And after that, then the negotiations are supposed to commence. And do you remember, then Ephron's like, okay, well, you won't take it for free. I'll sell it to you. And do you remember the number? What does he say?
400 pieces of silver.
Yeah. And the word in Hebrew, you probably know it, for pieces is shekels. So 400 shekels of silver that he's going to sell for. So that's Ephron's suggested price. But maybe one day when you might go to maybe one day even a house, the suggested price is not expected to be the final one. Now, unlike grocery shopping or when you go to 7-Eleven, you can't negotiate or you don't negotiate the price. In these cases, you can. Okay, and there's all sorts of tactics. So if you're going for a car, for example, You might visit two different dealerships selling the same vehicle, right? And if neither budges on price, well, there's other features you could negotiate: oil changes, incentives, and so on. Same goes for houses. You can negotiate not just on the price, but landscaping, the flooring, maybe some upgrades or the basement, and so on. Negotiation, it's a skill. And it's a skill that we know Abram has, right? In fact, it was actually here at Mamre where Abraham, after hosting the three angelic guests, he later bargains for Sodom's future. That's not what happens here today. Ephraim starts out at 400 shekels, a super high price. At today's standards, it'd be something like $15,000. And he's expecting Abraham to laugh, or maybe in this case cry, and say, well, I was thinking more like 150 shekels, maybe like $5,000, right? Something like that. But that's not what Abraham does. He says, I'll take it. I'll pay the suggested price. And so what's going on here? What's happening with Abraham? Why is he not negotiating? Well, for one, he might not actually be in a fighting mood, but one of mourning, right? Regular life patterns, even our ability to think clearly, just tends to break down when we're mourning. And that's one definite possibility. A second is that Abraham's also, maybe he's not as attached to earthly goods like silver as we might expect. Now, we've seen this before. You remember when the king of Sodom offers Abraham all the treasures of the city, what does he say? Do you remember that great line? Oh, you didn't take what? Yeah, that's right. I'm not even a shoestring. I don't want a shoestring from you. That's right. And moreover, Sarah's death must remind him, she reminds us, we're not long in this world. We're just passerbyers. So in the grand scheme of things, bargaining might seem small, almost inconsequential. And it recalls a scene that St. Bede relates in his ecclesiastical histories. He tells the story of King Edwin of Northumbria. He's the first English monarch to convert to Catholicism. This is back in 627. And the story goes, this is Bede reporting it, he says this before his conversion. The king of Northumbria is there. They're sitting in their mead hall. If you recall Beowulf, you have these nice, you might call them a chateau or something like this, castles, really. Any nice mead hall where you have the warmth of the fire, you have the minstrels singing, and the light and so forth going on. And there's a sparrow that comes in through one window and rushes through the mead hall and out the other. And meanwhile, outside the mead hall, there's a snowstorm raging on. Kind of long, something like, you don't have to use your imagination for that too much, just think, well, what's it like for you outside? It's kind of like that. So imagine this chapel, just a few more windows, and we don't close our doors that often. Okay, so the sparrow rushes through. And one of the king's counselors, who's a Christian, he gets up and he says this to the king: the present life of man upon earth, O king, it seems to me to be like the sparrow shooting past us. We have warmth, comfort, security of life, but briefly. Of what is to follow, or what went before, we know nothing at all. Another way, our stay here on the planet is but a flash in the pan. And the implications, especially in light of our reading today, are manifold. For one, we need to grasp the things of this world that can help us that can help our families, but just not too tightly. So Abraham does have to go about securing a fitting burial place. He does have to go through the rigmarole of Hittite documentation and all these legal hoops where they all witness what's going on and they all agree it's his, and so forth. But he doesn't have to become obsessed with the process. He doesn't have to lose sleep over fixating on what's the best possible price that he can get. Now, how about us? We need to, this is what you're doing this morning, I think, go about getting educated, right? Maybe even seeking out possible career paths. That's right. But we don't need to let them define us. We need to see our school and our work for what they are. Temporary. Now, I know some of you are thinking, the infinite horizon, it looms before us, so do I still need to hand in my canvas module stuff? And what would Abraham say? Yes, you do. Oh, that's what we're looking for. In unison, yes. Amen. Okay. Now, second of all, what we can also learn from Abraham is that money is not a god. Jesus points out as much in saying you cannot serve both God and mammon. You can't be a house divided, in other words. Mammon is like a personification of riches. It can become, and Paul points this out also in Colossians, in idol. That's right. But Sarah's passing inevitably reminds Abraham that life is a gift. And not to stress too much about silver coins. Now, another point we can take away is that death for fallen humanity is also a gift. That's right. So for fallen humanity, death now becomes a gift, paradoxically. In Tolkien's Middle Earth, fans out there, but do you know what death is called? It's kind of it's known as two different things. One, it's known as the doom of men. That's right. So unlike the elves who just like keep living on, this is like the doom of men. But it's also called the gift for humanity in Middle Earth. And I also often wondered, why would it be called a gift? Like the mortality of the elves. That seems like so cool. Mortality, I should say. But the mortality of man, like, it's labeled a gift. So any ideas? Why do you think? What do you think?
We were made to go to heaven, not to stay on earth.
Okay. I think you're very close to it. Yeah, that's right. So we're destined for somewhere else. Yeah, very good, very good. Any other guesses? Oh, this is right. Oh, and we can even give you a guess too. Any other guesses out there?
Because maybe the comfort of the world becomes a little bit, it becomes.
Yeah, the comfort of the world, sure. Also thinking of the tears of this world, right, and all the pains of it as well, are not to just continue on, right? So, in other words, the battle of life, when done, we can go on to our reward. As lovely as this planet and its people are, we're not dealing with thousands upon thousands of years with this. Now, paradoxically, there's this quasi-permanence that transpires here in that this place, Machpelah, becomes a byword. In Hebrew, Dr. Fawcett pointed this out, it's also means double. And this is where Abraham will a little later be buried by Isaac and Ishmael. Also, we'll see Jacob and Leah are buried in here. And they carry his bones all the way back from Egypt just to bury Jacob in this same cave. Right. So this is the cave of the double, which later becomes a reference point later on. And so I guess to conclude, this passage It provides us a glimpse into the ancient past. It speaks of hope and of eternity. As St. Paul says in Galatians, Abraham glimpsed ahead with a glimmer of intuition to the hope of the gospel. And that hope enables him to mourn properly and fully, for he knows that death does not have the last word. So as we continue on in the Easter season, let us here too rejoice, despite our tears in this valley below, that we can rest assured that God's power over the grave is the last word. So let's take to heart the words that we've sung, that God's word, my hope secures, that though this earth may dissolve like snow, God, who's called me here below, will forever be mine.